like this plan.
All right, how we doing today, gang? It's Tiger Mike here with Victor, Dominion Media Television. How we doing today, Victor?
Hey everyone, this is Victor, this is DMTV. I'm glad to be here again to talk about one of my favorite sci-fi shows ever, The Expanse. You know, over the years, I gotta say, my top sci-fi show changed over time. At first, when I must have been about in my early teenage years, it was Deep Space Nine, Ride or Die. That was the absolute best. Then along came Babylon 5. Well, they ran concurrently, but Babylon 5 ended later. And then, sorry, Trekkies, Babylon 5. I liked Babylon 5 a lot better.
I 100% agree. I've been a Trekkie pretty much my whole life. Started with TNG, moved into Voyager. Then Netflix came out, and then Deep Space Nine, happened for me, which I think happened with a lot of people. And then it was just like, all right, so what else is that? I watched Enterprise, which was me. Don't want to go into that right now. But, yeah, no, I got it. I lack faith of heart. I know. Well, Babylon 5 was
Babylon 5 was it set the bar for me. And then Battlestar Galactica, the 2003 reboot, raised the bar. And it stayed there for the longest time.
I love Battlestar Galactica, but it is not better than Babylon 5.
The first two seasons were, I will argue. After that, it just kind of fell apart. It had one of the most disappointing finales ever.
I actually really appreciated the ending. I thought that was...
You sick! God, so you do need faith of the heart.
No. Here's the thing.
Anyway, before we get on this too much, I was going to say, then The Expanse came along, and it is now... The Expanse currently holds the gold medal for me for best sci-fi series ever.
All right. Well,
anyway,
cool.
BSG finale sucked. I don't know what the hell you're smoking.
No, dude, and I'm going to tell you why, all right? Because as a concept in that particular setting, God is not like we would consider the religious... And I don't want to, not to spoil the ending from a 20-year-old show, but here you go.
Yeah.
Just having the answer kind of be because it was part of God's plan. I remove that from religious connotation, and I look at that from a scientific perspective, because guess what? We run simulations all the time, and the person who makes that simulation is that simulation's God.
See, okay, yeah, but if you go back and watch the entire series from the beginning, you're going to be like, wow, this God's a dick. He was a real dick. And I don't understand that makes sense, because I've played games like Civ and, Empire Earth, some of those really in-depth where you are the God. And I've been the dick sending my workers off to be sacrificed because I need to make room for more battleships,
All right, but this isn't what that is. This isn't a simulation game that this person is playing. This is a simulation scenario that this person is trying to work out, and that scenario is, how do artificial intelligence and humankind coexist? Can they coexist? And so it always comes to a boiling point when it's destruction, reset.
Reset. But that's an interpretation of it, because it was left super ambiguous in the end. So that's one interpretation.
Absolutely. That's the only interpretation that a sci-fi fan can have and still love the show. And so that's what I had to do.
That's what you had to... Okay. That makes sense.
It is headcanon, but it is headcanon so that I can still fucking enjoy it. Because otherwise it's a fucking slap in the face to every fan. Yep. So that's, and I don't not appreciate it. I think there is a poetry there. I appreciate that story, but it is a scientific, this is a scenario that a programmer is running. And so every once in a while he goes in and pokes and prods to kind of guide it, as in little ways, to keep that hope alive. But yeah,
I'll tell you what, it did at the time. It opened my eyes to, because at the time I was unaware of how TV shows were made, because Babylon 5 was an exception at the time. JMS had that entire story figured out before they ever shot a single frame.
It was a show before its time.
He knew where the show was going to go. And that's typically not how TV shows are run. Typically, they make it up a week at a time.
Yeah.
The writers, they get in the writers' room. I remember seeing an after show that they had for Battlestar Galactica. It was kind of like the Ready Room, but it was like an early version of that.
Yeah.
Where they were interviewing Ron D. Moore, and he specifically mentioned it was the episode where they had the big reveal of the final Cylon.
Yeah,
and
they're
he
just
said
like,
he was talking about it with the other writers, saying that it's like, okay, well, what if it's this person, or what if it's this person? It's like, yeah, no, we all decided it's got to be, it had to be her. And to me, I was insulted by that. I was like, wait a minute, you didn't know who the fuck was going to be the final Cylon? Like, you're making this shit up as you go along. What the hell is wrong with you? But if right now there's a watchcast going on. Who Are You? It's a podcast I guest host on occasionally, and they're rewatching Battlestar Galactica from the beginning. And
nice.
One of the hosts, Laura, hasn't seen it yet, and the other one has. So it's really interesting. She gets to see it for the first time, and just knowing that, still though, the first season is amazingly well done.
Oh yeah,
considering that they're just making it up as they go along. That's a fucking work of art, especially considering that they're just making the story up as they go along. It was, it's inspiring, really. It's just sad the way it ended, in my opinion.
Well, you know why that happened? Huh. Because God.
Oh, God. God's a dick?
Well, yeah, I mean, we certainly aren't living in the brightest timeline. You know what I mean? That's for damn sure. I
made a comic a while back saying that, like, God and Guinan are sitting down playing a D&D game, and God is like, okay, Guinan's, all right, what do you want to do? And God says, I want to create a planet that can support life, and he rolls a 3, and Guinan says, okay, well, you get one planet in the solar system where the sun causes cancer, and God goes, yeah, all right, whatever, just put the humans on that one. Okay, next. Anyway. Fuck Earth. Funny. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, right. Well,
Earth is shit. I want to be the banter. So I'm down with. Actually, if I had to pick a faction, I would pick Mars on in the Expanse. I would want to be a Martian.
I would probably.
I know they're crazy Starship Trooper vibes, but if you think about it, the Mars society is centered around a goal of terraforming Mars, and they need two things. They need to work on this terraforming project, and they need to increase their population. And their entire society is built around that. It is literally work hard, fuck hard. And I am so down for that. I am in.
Yeah. That is the life. Like, that is the goal. That's what we should all be striving for.
Hell yeah.
So, for episode 1, as we start out, Getting to Know Us, which is a short segment in which we get a chance to tell you about the things that we love. So, Victor, what was your all-time favorite franchise of ever in terms of sci-fi? This could be a TV, movie, book, tabletop board game, whatever.
Well, I am most well known for currently being a pseudo Z-list celebrity on social media for my Dominion Media comics, which are primarily Star Trek based. But at my heart, I gotta say, I am in my DNA a fan of BattleTech / MechWarrior, which was I was introduced to it when I was like 12, and there was this really cheesy cartoon show on in the 90s called BattleTech that was loosely based on the lore of the world, but BattleTech is actually just a tabletop board game. It's not quite as nerdy as Warhammer 40K, but it's in the same. It's cut from the same cloth,
It might be a little bit more nerdy because it's so much less accessible now.
Well, I would say, actually, that depends on how you think of it, because Warhammer 40K is really out there. BattleTech is at least a little bit more grounded. Like, there's no crazy magic, or there's not even any aliens in. So you'll visit some planets that have been colonized that have like weird native wildlife, but as far as like sentient human level intelligence. There's not any other aliens in the BattleTech universe. Whereas in Warhammer 40K, you got fucking space orcs. So
Yeah.
but at its core, the point is it's a tabletop game with big stompy robots that blow the shit out of each other, and that's great. So
Yeah.
that's what I love.
Sounds
I love
fantastic.
big stompy robots, man. That is my heart. So
There was
uh
always something appealing about the Mech Warrior Gundam whole like Power Rangers
yeah,
Zord vibe, you know?
yeah. And prior to that, I was really big into Godzilla simply because I remember I was in like grade school. I gotta say, Star Trek and Godzilla were probably my first passions, but I never really did a deep dive into Godzilla because it's a little bit more. Um, the lore is there, but
It's
it's
there.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas BattleTech, I collected the miniatures. I've still got some of the source books to go through all the lore and everything. And God, when I was a kid, I remember I had my mom drive me and my friends out to a convention out in San Antonio one time where we played at a tournament, and it was fun times, man. It was fun times.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
So what about
cool.
you, Mike? What
So,
is your thing?
I mean, so we already did touch on it a bit, but Babylon 5 just kind
Yeah.
of with it's a very complete series. The story is very well rounded, and it has every element that you could want from a sci-fi series, in my opinion. You know, they have a lot of technology stuff going on, and with the
Mm-hmm.
whole physics of humans haven't even developed gravity plating or anything like that, or whatever
Yeah.
the Minbari use, you know, so they still need to have their ships that have rotational parts for the crew to be on.
Mm.
And then you have the whole religious side of things, which is, you know, it basically helped me put my philosophy into words, which is, you know, we are the universe made manifest in which to experience itself, which is 100% what the Mimbari are about. And I just so identified with that feeling and belief and just respecting of everything in its element and what it's, you know, there to do
You
in it,
do
how
have
it exists.
the patience of a Minbari, I will say, Mike. Tiger Mike, I gotta say, you're very chill, very easygoing. That's yeah,
I
maybe in a
try.
different way, maybe in a different vibe than a Minbari. I don't
Yeah,
see
I don't
you
have the
fasting.
bonehead.
Yeah, I don't see you fasting for like 6 days before
Nah.
before going
And
doing a
also,
or whatever.
we don't need to pray between every bite of our meal either. Like,
Yeah.
that's, you know, there's definitely some things about the Mimbari that I'm like, yeah, I'm all set with that. Living in crystal housing might be pretty cool, though. Uh, but just the entire, I loved, as you were saying, you know, that Babylon 5 was put together before the cameras
Mhm.
even started rolling.
Yes.
And Michael J had set up options for every character's actor to bounce
Hmm.
out and replace them with another character that had a full backstory and a reason to be there. And it kind of might have seemed a little bit disjointed at times, but I really put a lot of that on the production value that they were able to achieve with their budget.
Hmm.
So I think, you know, they did a fantastic job, as good as they could have with the technology of the time. And it's a shame when a lot of the streaming services just blow up the aspect ratio to fit your screen, because they redid it for the DVD. And
Hmm.
that what they did is they had the 90s graphics a little bit smaller, so it was still full screen size, but they actually had the footage to do the live action in
Oh no shit.
widescreen.
Oh, that's awesome. Huh.
So that's what they did. But then to make it easier, smaller formatted, and easier to stream, I'm sure, HBO and a couple of the others, HBO might have actually, I can't remember. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but
Yeah.
most streaming services do not have the ups or that edition. They just basically blew that up so that it filled the screen for the 90s graphics, and it cut
Mhm.
off all the widescreen to just show what the original show would have shown anyway. I'm going to say show three more times. Show. So then it made the 90s graphics look all pixelated and crappy, and it's disappointing
So
sometimes.
wait, is it like when they go out into space and they have the CGI that
that was a smaller aspect ratio.
No, what I'm saying is like, so when you're watching it, when it cuts to a scene where it's out in space with the CGI, that will just be in a box, and then you go back to the station, and then it's like widescreen. Is that what you're saying?
Not quite widescreen, but it is a
like
wider...
the black bar at the top of the bottom.
Yeah, so when it's in the space, the actual screen gets a little bit smaller, and it does have black around it, but you don't really notice it.
Yeah, well, which version is that? Is that what you're talking about on HBO or the DVD?
I'm pretty sure that was the DVD. That's I really am not 100% sure. Kind of opened my mouth before I was 100% on this.
Well, hey, I know the fan base out there is like super knowledgeable about this shit. So, hey, fans, if you're listening, feel free to correct us. Do we have an email address to where they
you can always leave a comment, and hopefully you're subscribing to wherever you're listening to. And you can also send an email to, let's just say, which one do I want to use? God, I don't know which email. I'll put one on the screen when I'm ready to
all right, we'll do that. Just it's right here.
It'll be right there.
Right there.
All right,
right
there.
Maybe over here. I don't know. So yeah.
But
I don't know. I don't think anyone even emails anymore. So follow us on.
Put it on the YouTube comment.
Sky,
That'd be the
YouTube,
best part.
wherever this is going to be at. Yeah. So.
All right.
Well, anyway, so let's talk about The Expanse.
Yeah. Well, real quick, we got a couple other. We have our
our games. Time for games.
Yeah, we're still in the games. So anyway, Babylon 5 is my favorite, and that got us into a whole long conversation about everything in the world, which is why it's my favorite, because Babylon 5 includes everything.
Yeah, the only problem is its creator is a real dick, but you know he yeah, I had a personal experience with it. Well, not really personal, but somewhat tangent. You know what? We'll save that for another episode. I'll tell you my experience with JMS and why I think every time someone mentions his name from now on for the rest of my life, I'm going to go, that guy's a dick.
Fair
anyway,
enough. I can't
we'll save that story for another time.
Absolutely. So now we move on to our second.
He's a brilliant creator, though. I respect his art, but the person is a dick. So anyway.
I get that. I respect that. So now we're doing What If, and this is another short segment where we ponder the possibilities of the multiverse. Mm-hmm. So you have been placed in a torturous time loop until you name a regular human character from any sci-fi franchise to add to the Expanse universe. So who would that be? Because we'll be keeping track as we kind of go off.
Have you ever seen Red Dwarf?
I've seen it a bit. I wouldn't say I know all the characters' names, but I have watched it, and it is hilarious. I need to put it on my watch list, is what needs to happen.
It's great. I mean, it might not hold up as well today, but I remember seeing it as a kid, and it's a
British comedy, right?
Yeah, it is, but it's like most British comedy is like deadpan and dry. And this Red Dwarf does have that at times, but it's also just fucking, it's its own unique flavor of hilarity, and it's a big part of what influenced my sense of humor. So yeah, I'm throwing Dave Lister in The Expanse because that'll just be funny as hell.
And just which character was he?
He's the main character. He's the space slob. He's he's just like the worst human ever. and he gets thrown in stasis and is accidentally 3 million years in the future the last human being alive, and
nice.
He's just the worst possible choice. Like
what's his name again?
Dave Lister.
Dave Lister.
There's one episode where he goes into hypersleep for like a few weeks, and he wakes up, and they got this robot Crichton, who's another character on the show.
I know Crichton. Yeah,
he wakes him up, and he doesn't have his memory, and he's telling him about who he is, and is like, "Oh, I've made your breakfast, sir," and he's like, "Oh, this orange juice is gross." He goes, "Oh, that's not orange juice. That's chilled curry sauce on ice." He goes, "This is disgusting. I drink this." You know? And he said, "Can you tell me any redeeming qualities about myself?" And he goes, you do occasionally turn your underpants inside out to extend the wear time, which really cuts down on my laundry duties." Yeah, he's such a fucking slob, and I find myself identifying with him a lot lately, just because I'm turned into a fucking slob. I need to get my shit together. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But yeah, that's who we're throwing in. How about you, Tiger Mike? Who are we? Who are we putting in the Expanse?
So I really think a great addition to the Expanse, from all of my, sci-fi love, would be Lando Calrissian.
The
Swindler himself. The smoothest talker in the galaxy.
This is good. This is going to be good because he's like polar opposite of Dave Lister. This guy has got his shit together.
Yeah,
he's the smoothest motherfucker.
He's got fine hair. He's gonna drink a Colt 45 while he kicks your ass.
Hell yeah.
So I think Lando on Sirius Station would just be an outstanding combination. He would get away with every goddamn thing under the sun.
He would be do you remember the scene where they go to talk to the governor? He would be in the fucking governor's office. That would be him with his plants.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I don't know. I think he would be Sirius Station would be a lot different because he was because when he owned Cloud City, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's deep lore about it, but everyone in Cloud City seemed pretty happy until the Empire showed
up.
But
because
he seemed to be like a really good. He seems like a guy I would want to work for. Like he takes care of his crew,
Well, that's the thing. I don't know too deep into his like comic book or the novelization of the expanded universe or anything like that. But from how they portrayed Lando on screen, he's always been a very well-meaning, good-hearted swindler, right? Yeah. He's going to get his, but he's going to make sure everybody else gets theirs too. He's going to make fair deals, and the cheapest part about him is he's a cheat at sabacc. And he'll cheat at playing sabacc but most of the people at that table probably deserve it.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, he was probably the best part of that Solo movie that was a box office bomb. But his what's his
Donald
name?
Glover,
yes,
stole the show.
He crushed it, man. Ah, God, it's just such a shame that movie did so badly because, dude, a Lando spinoff, dude, I would pre-order that shit.
Yeah, man. It's funny. I'm the kind of guy who says, just because they didn't go in a direction that I would have gone in doesn't mean you shouldn't enjoy it. A lot of this stuff is just people are throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and it might not be what we wanted in our headcanon. And I had some really fucking good ideas for a sequel trilogy, and Disney never called me. I'm still waiting. I'll still run Lucasfilm. I will do it. All right, so we got Dave Lister and Lando that we're going to be throwing in to the Expanse universe. So now the final, it's a trivia question, is part 3. Which two characters were in the first and second season of the show, but were not in the first book? So a lot of people don't realize the first book is basically the first season and a half. And then the second book, Caliban's War, starts around the second, halfway through the second season. So we have two characters who were not in the first book, who are in the first season, they're in. Basically, these two characters are introduced earlier than they should be.
Yeah, I think I know this, and I might have answered you already.
I have a multiple choice.
Because I just finished I'm on the second book right now. I just finished my read-through. Well, God, it's been a couple months, but last year I finished my read-through of the first book, and I got about halfway through the second one. I'm probably going to have to start over because I've forgotten so much of it. But okay, give me the multiple choices.
All right, so out of these characters, two characters that arrived early in the show. So we got Joe Miller, Julie Mao, Christian Avasarala, Dimitri Havelock, Fred Johnson, Bobby Draper, or Sadavir Ehrenreich.
That's a lot of choices. I want to say that Avasarala, I don't think she showed up until the second book. And I think the other one, I'm not 100% sure. I think Bobby Draper was in the first book. I don't remember. I was going to go with Avasarala and Bobby.
There you go. Right? Those are the correct answers. Yep. Okay. So Bobby doesn't appear until the second book. and neither does Christian. Christian appears in the first episode of season 1, and Bobby doesn't appear until the first episode of season 2. So she's a little bit closer in line, but they wanted to get some of that narrative backstory in there earlier, I guess, was the reasoning behind it. So those are our 3 questions for this episode 1. Now we're going to start diving into the recap. So, firstly, we begin with the title sequence, which I think is one of the best sci-fi title sequences that has ever come out. What do you think?
I feel like, I feel like at this point, this was mid 2010s. It was like 2015 when this show came out.
Something like that.
This was the Game of Thrones effect. Like after Game of Thrones, every TV show wanted to have this awesome badass intro, and some of them did better than others. The Expanse, I feel like, it did a really good job. Like it feels like every fucking, especially every sci-fi show that comes out wants to do a big intro. Like Halo tried it, and I think they failed. The Last of Us.
Halo fucking failed, dude. Oh my god, that was dead upon arrival.
Let's not linger on that too much, but I think The Last of Us, which was a good show, I didn't like their intro. It's like, okay, here we go, do your thing. Dune Prophecy is really guilty of this. It's like, I can tell they put a lot of effort into it, so I want to watch it, but it's just not as good. You know, I'm like, okay, fine, let me watch your intro. I don't know. I'm sure some people disagree, but
I have a hard time with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think the third season of Star Trek Picard nailed it, because at first 2 seasons, they tried to do the Game of Thrones intro, and it just wasn't as interesting.
Yeah, no.
It had some weird effects for some fucking reason. It had glass shattering. It's like, what is this? So, but in the third season, they saved it for the ending. You know, they dive right into the story. Like, they had the recap, and then they dive right into the story. And then they
had a title card on each one, and then the end credits had
and then the end credits was this epic visual montage that was really good and worth watching. Yeah. Like, I watched every end credit sequence when Star Trek Picard came out, of season 3 anyway.
For the ups and downs that Picard had as a series, and I very much appreciated what Patrick Stewart wanted to do and all that, but it wasn't hitting right. It wasn't hitting the right notes. It was a little off key. And so season 3 just coming in and being like, all right, we're just going to give it a big fan service with a kablammy ending and then go out swinging. Moving on. So, I mean, that intro, like I said, it just took a really long time to describe, but it really is just,
it was really well done. It was short and succinct. The only complaint I have about, and it's more of a complaint of this first season in general, is that, a lot of the interiors weren't like, spoiler alert for the show, but I mean, honestly, if you're listening to us before you watch the show, what the hell are you doing? But anyway, we later learn that the ship that she's on right now is the stealth ship, the Anubis,
right.
But
she was on the Scopuli.
But when I watched this with my friends on the other podcast last time on, they thought she was on the Scopuli, even when they boarded it, because the interiors of the Scopuli and the Anubis are way too similar, you know. And I think that was just maybe a production thing at the time, like they had to reuse sets because it would be way too expensive to build a new set for every ship that they're on.
I mean, what was the difference in class of these ships? Were they manufactured?
No, it's a huge difference. The Scopuli was just a belter freighter, and the Anubis was a fucking stealth fighter with cutting edge technology. You know, so they should have been. Right. Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't know. I just wish they could have done something different to make them more unique. They do a really good job in later seasons, though. Like, when the scene changes, you can tell when you're on a UN ship or a Martian ship or a belter ship. They get really good at it, but I think they're just still figuring things out here in the first season.
Well, and it it was a sci-fi show, and being a sci-fi show, or like, no, what I mean is
sci-fi's SIFI,
on sci-fi.
SYFI.
Yeah, exactly. So its budget was very minimal to start out with, I'm sure.
Yeah, when they get the Bezos money in later seasons.
Right, that's when it picks up. All right, so Miller gets a new assignment. Because, basically, for me, that intro scene is just like, all right, that's the classic horror intro, but what the fuck is going on? And then
it was really good. And then we cut to some completely different. Yeah, we get over to series. And this opening shot on series, I feel like, is just a masterclass in world building.
Yeah.
Like the CGI done of the drone going into the station. And we get what feels like a lot of exposition. But then we see it's what my friend Ben calls he calls this guy Radio Free Belter, who is there in the middle of the the gathering, inciting a riot, or trying to incite a riot. Yeah, he gives us a lot of good information, and it's really well done. It feels natural. It doesn't feel forced. I mean, at first it feels kind of like he's talking to the audience, but then, as it zooms in and he's there with his little Belter rally, it just feels really good. It's really well done, Chef's kiss, man. Okay, get back here.
So we meet Joe Miller, who's a hard-boiled, hard-drinking, hat-wearing detective for Star Helix Security. And basically,
no cops on series, kid. Oh wait, no laws on series, kid. Just cops.
Right. And so, according to the preacher, he's a well-walla. Which is a traitor to the Belters, basically. And so he's got a new recruit, Dmitry Havelock, who is
it's
just
his first day on the job,
and he's already been to the brothel. Oh, that's good. Well, all right, you're a new recruit. Here we go. Hop in bed with this one.
Well, Havelock hasn't gotten to banging this girl yet. He has to.
His first stop is at the brothel.
Well, they stop because they're there to investigate a murder.
Right. All right. That's
Yeah,
okay.
they got and Havelock's just he's there. He's in the passenger seat basically. They learn the ropes while Miller does the murder. And something that I didn't notice until a later watch through, he steps on a puddle of blood on the carpet and later just wipes it off.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize what was being communicated there, but it's like, okay, another fucking murder, whoop-de-doo. He's wiping evidence off his... Anyway.
And it's basically this: nobody got killed and nobody cares.
Well, no, somebody did get killed.
But he's just a belted gangster.
Because he's a nobody. Yeah, I get it.
Right, he's a nobody.
Yeah, they don't care, whatever. They're just, And later, another really amazing piece of world building I appreciated is when they're in the bar talking, and Havelock asks about how to identify a belter. And this is something that the show did specifically that's different from the book. Because in the book, the belters are all, like, the shortest belter would be 6.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Because they've been living in space for so long. And
right.
That's what belters are. And obviously, for the TV series, that's not really practical.
Right.
So what they did instead was they made up this thing about gravity drugs, that how, like, the bone spurs on the back of Miller's neck are a giveaway that he's a belter because he's got them. And I think they did a really good job of making the belters visually distinctive, even though they can't, hire a bunch of NBA players to be belters. They with their language and their scraggly looks and the face tattoos, I think that worked out really well.
Yeah.
Later, when we get to the Martians, though, I think that was a somewhat of a failure of the show. Like they couldn't find a good way to make the Martians visually distinctive.
But do they need to be? Were they in the book? You know what I mean? Like,
somewhat. I mean, because the Martians are taller because it's lower gravity than Earth, but not as tall as belters. But like, what I would have done is, because you live on Mars, you grow up under a dome.
Right.
You can't ever be out in the sunlight, really. So
they
I would
should
make
be really
them all
pale.
really pale.
Yeah.
I'd make them all really pale, and I don't know, like, they're a really militaristic society, so maybe they would all be clean cut with short haircuts or something to make them distinctive like that. I don't know. I was thinking maybe what I would do is all of them have like maybe a barcode tattooed on them somewhere because Mars is real, almost fascist, almost.
Maybe they do.
Yeah.
Wink,
Yeah.
wink, nudge, nudge.
Anyway, but that's just we'll get to that later when we get introduced to the Martians. So.
But so yeah, Miller and Havelock are having that conversation in the bar, and then that conversation happens, and then Miller gets called back to the captains at Star Helix headquarters.
Yeah, Captain Shadid. This is where he gets his assignment for.
Yeah, this is his hot boss. And she's like, yeah, go find Julie Mao. And he's like, who gives a shit about this poor little heiress? And he's like, somebody. So he goes
she's
off
like the Paris
her.
Hilton of space.
Yeah. She used to be a racing ship. She used to be a pilot.
Except except that she's actually talented. She
right.
she knows how to race her badass little racing ship. So she's got some skill and actually a good heart because she ditched all her family's wealth to go out live among the Belters. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. I love the character of Julie Mao.
And so we don't really know it yet, but we know now that she is the person in the intro scene who's screaming at the blue, creeping goo, which is what we are here to review. So, meanwhile, on Earth, we meet Christian Avasavala a whole book early, basically on the 5th page of this book. And she's taken from an idyllic day with her husband and her grandson
with the grandkids and
to go to the UN to torture a Belter, because what's more fun than torturing a Belter? So they believe that he's an OPA agent, Outer Planets Alliance, and they're basically terrorists who are, acting against the interests of Earth and all that, because the Belters are essentially slave labor exploited people.
And gravity torture, that is such a cool idea.
Yeah,
I mean, it's horrible, but just as a sci-fi concept, like, wow.
Yeah.
That would be, it made me think, like, imagine you and me growing up on Earth our entire lives, and you take us over to, low orbit of Jupiter and make us stay there. God, that would suck. Like, you just feel the heavy gravity, and fuck, dude, that would suck.
Yeah, man. It's definitely not something that I would like to be party to. So yeah, they're torturing this guy. They're trying to get information out of him. He's he's just like a transporter. He was transporting stealth technology.
He's a courier, yeah.
A courier, yeah. And so they're like, why the fuck do Belters have stealth tech? And so they're all starting to freak out with all these theories about what's going on. And there is a bit of, I would say, nonchalance. They're just like, there's a couple of people like is he the president or he's the vice president or something? What is that?
Which one, Aaron Wright?
Yeah.
Oh, is Aaron Wright? I thought we didn't get him until next episode. Or
I think.
Oh wait, no, we do. Wait, do we?
Yeah, he's in a scene. I don't know if he's in this particular scene, but he seems to be very. Yeah, you're worried about nothing. This is no big deal.
Oh, with the stealth tech?
With the stealth tech,
yeah, he's
he just doesn't think it's a big a deal as it really is. So life aboard a space station has its perils. So now we're in the outer space near the rings of Saturn. The ice trawler Canterbury is loading an enormous piece of ice into the bay. And doesn't somebody lose their arm in this scene?
Yeah, and this is where in the background, what is the name of that? It's by the Black Keys. Damn it, the song that's playing in the background. It's I forgot the name.
They're using modern music in their sci-fi tale.
But they got. Damn it, I knew all this. I should have looked it up before the show. But yeah, they hired a Hawaiian musician to do a cover of this in the Belter language.
Yeah,
and play it. Fuck. I bet you if I just
if you just
Tighten Up. That's the name of the song.
Tighten Up. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the producers hired. You can find this out on like iTunes and shit, but I highly recommend. I highly recommend it. It's a good song. They did an actual entire song, and they did this again later in the series with the cover of Deep Purple. I think it's Deep Purple's Highway Star.
Nice.
They did the same thing, and it's so good. So good. Anyway, our boy from Star Trek Discovery here gets his arm chopped off by a big chunk of ice.
Yeah, that's right. He is in Discovery.
He's the guy who his only line ever is no response, Captain. He's the communications officer in every episode. Hail them. No response, Captain.
So we got Cameron and Riker who are talking about going to the brothels and the casinos and
Yeah, they say I learned my lesson this time. Casino before brothel, and I question that logic. Like, if it's me thinking I don't.
No, I think it's sound logic because you can lose everything, and you probably will lose everything at the casino.
Yeah,
so you want to get your bang in first.
Yeah, you go to the brothel first because if you do casino first and you don't do good, then you're broke and you have blue balls. So.
Exactly. So it's sound logic. All right, and then one of them gets their arm cut off or something. The Canterbury is heading to deliver the shipment to Sirius Station ahead of schedule, and the crew receives a distress call.
The distress call. Now this is great because I don't know if I think I mentioned this last time, but the whole story of The Expanse was inspired by a role-playing game, a D&D style tabletop game that the creators did back in, I want to say it was the late 90s. They did it online.
Well, there you go, ruining the episode 2 trivia question.
Oh, fuck.
No, it's great. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. That's how this story first started. I forget if it was Ty Frank or Daniel Abraham. One of those two was basically the DM of a sci-fi role-playing game, and this is how it played out. And they just turned it into a book, which turned into a TV show, which is I think is so fucking cool.
So
that is such a thing I could see happening in a game session. It's like suddenly you hear a distress call, and what do you do?
So Ty Frank was used this kind of whole setting for an MMORPG project that got canceled early on.
Oh, okay.
And then part of that plot got repurposed into a homebrewed tabletop RPG for a gaming group. And that resulted in Daniel Abraham telling Frank that they really should write this down, and the two of them wrote the first book.
That is just, I love that so much. I wish more of this was out there, because it's just, it reminds me, I really need to watch Critical Role. I mean to do that.
Oh,
anyway.
no, it's me too. It's one of those things that I'm like, geez, where do I just jump in, or
exactly.
do I go all the way to the beginning?
Yeah. There's years of this.
But at the same time, I want to do that myself. So watching it feels like a waste of time because I should just be finding people to do it with, you know?
Anyway,
not that watching it would be a waste of time. I don't want to imply that.
No, I know what you're saying. It's like, if I'm watching it, I'm going to want to go play D&D instead.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And then getting sucked into Baldur's Gate 3 was bad enough. I mean,
oh fuck, yeah.
So all right, the captain's like, no, fuck that. We're going to purge this message. But then the second officer, James Holden, who turns out to basically be our main character.
Jon Snow in space.
Jon Snow in space, absolutely. Takes it upon himself to file the call, basically making it so they had to respond to it.
They have no choice
because the captain wanted to just pass on by because it could be pirates, could be danger.
The captain was right.
And the captain was absolutely fucking right.
It turns out that our creepy cat guy captain, everything he said was right. Maybe not in the way he had hoped, but it turns out all the advice he gave Holden, about Earth and Mars burying the hatchet, finally, that does happen eventually, and tells him, nope, don't, this is pirate bait. Holden's like, no, we need to go help. It was fucking pirate bait.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it wasn't pirate bait. It was Martian military bait.
Yeah, it's even worse.
I don't disagree.
But it wasn't even Martian military bait. It was
Martian rogues, right?
Rogue. It was Earth. It was an Earth core using stolen Martian tech with. Well, okay, we'll get to it.
Right?
We'll get to
Yeah, we will. We will indeed.
So what happens next? We
Holden's
log the
usually
distress
content.
call.
Oh, and by the way, Holden is clearly having a romance with the ship's navigator.
Oh yeah. We skipped right over the zero-G boning scene.
Nygaard in zero-G, and this
Which,
is the next.
By the way,
the next scene, yeah.
Which, by the way, during that zero-G bone zones scene, did they blur out Ade's nipples?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was
no problem.
Right. Like I paused it and zoomed in because I'm a man of culture, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What the hell?"
Because one of my started when we were about 11 years old, and the movie Titanic came out in 2 VHS tapes, people. So you had to figure out which one it was that had the boobies, and then you had to fast forward to that part before your parents got home.
Well, anyway, when we did this first watch through on Last Time On, one of my co-hosts thought that he thought that at first she was a hologram or something because she didn't have nipples.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, she didn't have nipples? And I went back and like, oh, they must have just done this because it was on Sci-Fi at prime time.
No, you know what it was? This was the thing. So at the end of the show, she famously says, I have to tell you something, and then screen blank out because ship blow up. But what that was going to be was she was going to say, I'm an android, and that's why she didn't have nipples.
It made her look like a fucking Barbie doll.
Yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, it just, it made her look like a sex doll.
Yeah. Weird. Man, I'm sure there's some fanfic about that. So anyway, so then we get the, where do we go? We got the flip and burn, right? We do the flip and burn. Or we skipped over where we meet Ermintrout, who's gone space crazy. Yeah, the old Exo.
Former Exo.
Yeah, they go and find him. He's got a room full of guns and plants, and he's gone space crazy.
Yeah, that fun guy.
Man, I love this guy in Breaking Bad. It's unfortunate that we only got him for this one scene in the entire series.
That's right. And then because I can't remember the actor's name. But he was not only in I believe it was Battlegrounds episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yes, that's right.
He basically, Kyle Paka stays behind on this planet and to heal them because he's the leader of one group and they're always fighting the other group.
And they can't die.
And they
respawn.
Yeah, they got the unlimited respawn. So, I mean, you would think that you could, like, die if you ripped each other's heads off, but they don't bother trying that experiment.
We'll get there on my other podcast.
But he was also in season 5 of Community. He played Bill Hickey.
Right. I remember seeing that episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was in the whole season 5. Yeah. But he was a great actor, and it was a shame that he was only in that one scene because he was a crazy old coot. So now we got the Canterbury's chief engineer, Naomi Nagata, and she knows that Holden logged the message with HQ. So this is why they confesses
it to her.
This is why they end up doing the painful high G flip and burn. And the Canterbury approaches the wounded ship in the dead of space, which is the Scopuli.
Right.
So now we're connected back to Julie's character and why she was wearing that. Well, we don't know why she was wearing the jumpsuit, but clearly she was a member of that crew at some point.
Right. Yeah, so they load up the shuttlecraft and they go on a little rescue mission. They have a great line that is straight copied and pasted from the books. Where they approach and Holden says, they're doing a scan of the ship, and he goes, what's that? Looks like a big hole in the side of the ship. And Naomi says, well, according to the scanner, it's a big hole in the side of the ship.
Yeah. So
that's directly copied from the book.
That's Chef's Holden, Naomi, the med tech officer Shed, and the pilot Alex, along with mechanic Amos. And we don't really get to know anybody particularly well this episode. We just get a little, bits and pieces, basically.
So then they go on and they board the ship. Yeah, they board the Scopuli. And something that I did make a note of here, that when they board the ship, in the books, they made it a point to say that while they, I'm going to be totally a fucking hipster and be this entire podcast and be like, well, the books did this because,
No,
look at me, I read.
great.
But, it's rare that I actually read, so I want to show off my knowledge.
Absolutely. Well, that's one of the things that I really want to know the differences of. That's usually, I love knowing those differences between the book and the show, and discussing how those choices were made.
Yeah, I got to say, this is one of the best adaptations of a book I have ever seen, I want to say. But yeah, so in the book, they made it a point to mention that when Holden and the crew thought it was strange that, okay, if this ship was raided by pirates, why didn't they take anything? Like, all the computers are still attached, all the oxygen tanks are there. So I feel like they should have done that more in the show, because it was eerily uncomfortable, because, like, okay, all the bodies are gone, but all the loot is still here.
Yeah.
What kind of pirates are these, you know?
Yeah.
And on top of that, they just did a big flip and burn, and they made a big point of saying they lost their bonus. Dude, if this was me, I'd be looting the ship.
Right.
Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it does seem like a huge wasted opportunity to go to, and I mean, you have the two sides of things. You go, all right, if I was in a horror movie, don't take the thing and get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out now. But on the other side, it's like, dude, we're in the middle of space. These guys might all be gone and dead. Maybe they were in the room that had the hole in it. You know, we don't. So maybe that's why they're all gone. We could just take this shit and make so much more money than we were already going to make, or have some great food, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah. At least take the food, or
have
air,
a surplus
or
of
water,
supplies, so that they could make some
coffee
profit
machine,
off of it. Yeah, matches for the coffee, you know.
Yeah, all the K-cups.
Yeah.
See Holden loading up all the K-cups.
Yeah. But
great.
yeah, they didn't really take anything, and they just kind of left it and then bounced. But and then the mystery ship.
Yeah.
So they find no bodies, no trace of survivors. So they hightail it out once the captain informs them an unidentified ship has entered their vicinity. So Alex theorizes it's Martian due to the advanced stealth tech. The ship fires
this
torpedoes.
Is when the stealth ship shows up. And and they're like, how the hell, why didn't we see it on scopes? And they're like, oh shit, it's stealth. And just to drop in another Red Dwarf reference, there was a hilarious episode where the ship's computer had to do an emergency evacuation because suddenly they were right directly in the path of 5 black holes. And they were like, the computer's name was Holly. They're like, Holly, how the hell did you not see 5 black holes? And she goes, well, see, the thing about space, the defining characteristic of space is it's black. And a black hole, what is it? It's black. So how the hell are you supposed to see it? That was just a great episode. Anyway.
Yeah, that's funny.
Get down.
So, the stealth ship fires torpedoes, which sail past the little shuttle that they're on.
That was a great scene. I saw
and head straight for the Canterbury.
Yeah.
So, with seconds left to live, actually, it's more like a minute and a half, and they just sit there freaking out until like the last 5 seconds.
This is another thing in the book. This sequence that was I want to say the torpedoes took like 12 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You're out in big and open space.
There's nowhere to go.
What are you going to do? There's nothing for you to hide behind. You can't take cover. You
Canterbury
can't outrun.
is a big, big ship, right? So they cannot just like kick it and turn away at the last second or maneuver around it. And
they go through a whole thing in the book. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say they also can't really just ditch the shuttle. So even if they were able to do a hard burn, they're leaving part of their crew behind. And so I'm pretty sure Holden tells them to go for hard burn.
They do, but that's another thing about the science of the Expanse is that
takes too long to accelerate.
In some sci-fi shows and even like TV shows, you have a thing where you try to outrun a missile. That's complete fiction. You can't, because a spaceship that you're on that has a human crew, the ship might be able to accelerate faster than a missile, but that would kill everyone on board because of the G-forces.
Yeah.
But a missile, a guided missile is just an explosive payload with a rocket. It doesn't have that limit. So it's impossible to outrun a missile in space.
Yeah.
So there's nothing they can do. They can burn as fast as they can, but in the book they do
dropped the cargo, which Holden also suggests.
I don't remember if that was in the book or not. I think they did try dropping the cargo. I don't remember. I'll have to go back and read it. Yeah. But
I mean, it would make sense to try, because then the missile might hit the cargo and save the ship.
Right. But what they did try doing in the book was Naomi got on the comms with some of the engineering crew from the Canterbury and tried to see what they could do about jamming the warheads or disabling them somehow. And they were just like, no, these are... We're engineers on a civilian freighter. These are military grade.
Yeah.
Even if we could hack them, it would take like an hour at least, maybe. And we don't have that much time, so there's nothing they can do. So they just tell them to brace for impact and, say like, well, they're pirates. They're probably going to want to negotiate. They go through that. But then it turns out that these aren't regular torpedoes. They're nukes. And it surprised everyone on the night that they were just like, what the fuck? Because that made no sense. I mean, on top of the shock of seeing all your friends and coworkers get vaporized, they're like, this makes no fucking sense. Pirates wouldn't do that,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big thing in the book, and there were, and also the ending scene here.
Too.
Yeah. Also the ending scene here where where Ade says there's something you should know, that wasn't in the book either.
Right.
That was just fucking just for no reason at all. They put that in the
they had
in the
to
TV
add
show.
Something that would haunt Space Jon Snow. Yeah.
But we never get an answer for it. We do get an answer from the authors on Twitter later.
Robot.
I don't. Yeah, well, of course.
That's the answer.
I don't know if you have this as a trivia question for later, but the authors did respond to a bunch of fans asking what she meant by "there's something you should know." They said that Ade was fucking Shed. That's what she was about to tell him.
Oh, great.
Which, what? I think they just made that up at the time.
It sounds like they were probably just messing with the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so but that's the episode. It pretty much ends with Ade saying, hey, there's something you should know, and then explodes, and then
white
everyone's
light,
like,
boom,
whoa, shit, and credits roll.
Yeah, it's a hell of a cliffhanger.
I mean, it's a great first episode, really, because it does everything to set up the series, and it doesn't really take you too far into it until the last couple of scenes where they're all on the Canterbury, and it starts to follow the main kind of plot.
I feel like that this is one of the best first episodes in science fiction ever. I gotta say, it does everything. It gets you hooked. It establishes a plot, and even though I've complained before about cliffhanger fatigue these days in TV shows, like everything has to end with a fucking cliffhanger.
Yeah.
This is done right.
Yeah.
It gets you hooked, and then it ends and it leaves you wanting more, in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gang. Well, that was the first episode of The Expanse, going over it. So, honestly, I thought, as Victor was saying, it was a great first episode, a really great intro for a lot of sci-fi. I would say that Battlestar Galactica's miniseries is a bit of a cheat, because they had a huge budget and they just did this 2 hour, or was it 2 or 3 hours? Anyway. And that was, so it's hard to compare it against something like that. But against Encounter at Farpoint, I think it was a little bit better.
Definitely. I'm going to throw up a poll, I think, for what do you think is your favorite? What's the best?
That's a good one.
Premiere episode of a sci-fi series. I did it once for Star Trek, and the community overwhelmingly voted for Deep Space Nine's Emissary as the best.
I was about to say,
a really good one. Yeah,
it has to be that. Because out of all the series, it does. In a lot of ways, it parallels this first episode of The Expanse, where you have world building. The Bajorans have been through an occupation. So let's get to know how that happened a little bit, and the pain that they're feeling, and the anger that people like Kira have. And then we shift into, okay, but now we have Space Jesus, and we need to figure out what's going on with Space Jesus.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a lot of, it doesn't have the dramatic ending that, the
doesn't have quite the same cliffhanger ending. But if you do want to hear more about this, me talk about more of this in depth, tune in to Attention Bajoran Workers on iTunes or wherever you find podcasts. But yeah, check it out. And
definitely,
Tiger Mike, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely, thank you.
Looking forward to being here again next week.
Yes, so we will be coming at you with more episodes of The Expanse as we carry on with our rewatch. And you can definitely check out Dominion Media Television on the Facebooks and the other social medias. And check out Tiger Mike, the MC, or you can type the Mike McKean, THE Mike McKean, into Facebook. You'll find me out there. I'll also put up some links in our special little areas here. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to subscribe to Attention Bajoran Workers as well, as I am occasionally guest hosting on there too. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.
We'll see you next time on the Blue Goo Review.
The Blue Goo Review.
I like this plan.